Yay, welcome back. This is going to be part 5 of my series. So now we have 16 days left. Today's objectives in-game are to construct my second floor and... Well, actually maybe. My first priority is to never mind, my first priority is to install a second floor. Probably not a roof yet. I think the roof will come next episode. And if I have time after the second floor, which I probably will, I'm gonna go exploring for some diamonds. Probably strip mining, because that's the most boring thing possible, but I can talk over that. And in terms of commentary, I'm going to be talking about my social and mental health throughout the DP. The IBDP programming. The IBDP program, which are the last 2 years of high school, for people who don't know what the IB is. This is birchwood, right? Yeah, I need some birchwood. Okay. And I'm really proud of this creation that this bridge. I like it. First time building something like that, and I'm proud of it. Anyway, let's get straight into it. So, yesterday I left off things talking about how I academically succeeded in DP. So today is what was going on behind the scenes, mentally and socially for me, because in my opinion, I know counselors and other people that act as emotional support also emphasize this a lot, but it is quite true when people say, so please believe them when they say your mental health is just as important as your physical health. That is a fact. It's definitely been proven somewhere, somehow. So things like your social life, being kind to people, and also managing yourself, putting yourself first before anything, having the mindset and motivation to get your tasks done on time, having the motivation to go to the gym, have the motivation to be patient with your friends and teachers, and think before acting. That all of these things are part of your mental health, and if you handle them poorly, then they lead to bad decisions and also negative impacts on your physical health, and that can lead to worse grades. So let me explain what my situation was like when my mental health was not the greatest. So as soon as 11th grade started, pretty much, 10th grade summer break was fine for me. I found the basis of my current friend group, and I also went to New York for vacation with my dad and had a great amount of family time there, so that was great. But I didn't have a lot of real friends that I could talk to in real life every single day if I wanted to. I didn't have that, and that would have helped me with my mental health a lot, right? But I didn't. Instead, when I first started DP, since I didn't have a person I did have really close people online that I could talk to, but it's really different when you can't interact with them in person, right? It's more precious, in my opinion, if you're able to interact with this person whenever you want, whenever you're okay with it. So I found myself surrounding myself with more or less not ideal friends, if I could say that. And what am I doing? Back then I had a really serious image on what a true friend would look like, because I watched I watched a lot of webtoons and comics and saw people sustain 10-year-long friendships online, and I was like, wow, that's really nice. Oh, I can reach that. But it turns out getting those friendships is not as easy as just it's not as easy as just interacting with the first person you see and calling them your lifelong friend. I figured out the hard way. Now, I'm not saying that any people involved in this discussion are mean people or whatever, because, well, first of all, if they were truly that mean, I wouldn't be talking about them here in the first place, right? I need more wood. But my point is that I was surrounding myself with the wrong people. That is the bottom line that I'm going to be talking about. I was surrounded by, and this is partially actually half of it is my fault as well, because I didn't know that I was surrounding myself with the wrong people when I should have. And hence, when I should have aimed to stay away from these people, I decided to ignore my gut instincts and keep hanging around with them, which was my mistake, which I didn't realize beforehand. I need more trees. I didn't need you. I kind of want you, bro. Yeah. But when I was hanging out with those friends in the beginning of my 11th grade journey, since those people were not people that I could be completely open to, and they were not people that I knew for an incredibly long period of time. And one of the people that I considered my best friend back then was, to be honest, they didn't do a lot wrong. Like, it was mostly me who relied too much on their presence, and that was foolish of me. Like, I relied too much on the fact that they were going to be my best friend forever, even though a part of my mind always said that that was not going to be the case. I chose to ignore it. And if you went through something similar, you would know how difficult it is to just like turn away from people that you've trusted for a long time. And the person that I considered my best friend back then was someone that I knew for at least like since like 8th grade. So for me, it was really hard to just turn away from them. And the thing is and the reason I say this is not completely my fault is because they were kind of how do I put this? I guess they were unaware or something, but they were kind of like supporting this idea that they were my best friend, even though it was not the case. I mean, sure, like, we had a lot of great experiences, right? But I think they would have been much more valuable if we had a lot more meaningful connections and shared a lot more things about our life that we did, and we could be more open to each other. But both me and them decided that, kind of non-verbally decided that we were not that kind of friendship. But it took me a while to realize that was true, and same goes for some of my other friends. Like, don't get me wrong, ever since the first friend group I found, most of them are really nice. Like, especially, most of them were people that are still in my friend group. These are people that I really respect, and I still hang around with them a lot. But out of those people, like 2 or 3 people were people that were not destined to be my friend for the entirety of high school or after that, which I understand, which is fine, because, you know, that happens. Yeah. But the point is that I didn't realize that I was surrounding myself with those people, and coincidentally, or maybe not, who knows, but in any case, it turns out that the people that I held closest to me were the people that were not right for me. And people who can relate will know how difficult of a situation that is to get over. Because you find yourself bonding and trying to get back to those situations and positive affirmations that they really are one of your closest friends, when in reality, they don't care about you that much, right? And that reality was something that I had to face. And it made bearing the first semester of my 11th grade year very difficult. Because naturally, when you spend time with people that you think were closest to you, even if you don't mean it, you end up pushing away people that you didn't know were trying to be close to you all along. And that's what exactly ended up happening. And therefore, I lost a lot of, like, I guess, image from them. Now, the relieving thing is that when I realized my situation and chose to turn myself around, which happened around the 2nd semester, those initial people that I ended up pushing away were very forgiving and understanding of my situation. So I am very grateful to them for that. if it hadn't been that, I might have been graduating without any proper friends, and I wouldn't even have known it. You see, the moment that I realized I was hanging out with the wrong people was in the second semester. But before we get on to that, let me explain some of the consequences that this negative energy had on me. So, first of all, I mentioned that I've been going to the gym since the summer of 10th grade. So, June 2022 is when I first started to go to the gym. Now, I wanted to like go to the gym initially to do a couple of things that most people share in common, like lose weight, get more fit and healthy, but also like develop good habits, right? Because everyone knows that in order to be most successful at the gym, you need to have consistency. So either like you have to set like a specific time period and stick to that schedule. Either whether it's 3 days a week or every single day, you have to stick to it. Otherwise, you won't see the results as effectively. And even though I was told multiple times this by my trainer, by my parents, who paid for my gym membership fee, by my friends who supported me in my journey, I still couldn't bear myself to go to the gym every single day that I wanted to, because, you know, I was not feeling the best mentally. Sometimes hanging out with my quote-unquote best friend that I had back then drained my energy so much to the point that I wouldn't be able to bring myself mentally to go to the gym. I couldn't even, like, I couldn't go because I didn't want to go. It was that simple. And that's just one example of how important your mental health is if you want to thrive, right? You really got to... I need more spruce trees. I need to plant spruce trees. Where are my spruce? Oh, here we go. So yeah, if you don't have a good mental like base, I guess, then it's really hard to thrive by going to the gym and making good habits. So one good habit builds onto another, and if you have a good social life, good social position, and therefore you'll get motivation and the initial energy to start going to the gym more, and then it'll become a habit naturally, which is exactly what you want, right? Perfect, I can make a bow. So, and since I didn't have that, even though one of my CAS activities, which if you're unfamiliar, one of the CAS stands for Creativity Activity Service. It's like your extracurricular and things you do outside of school. One of them activities was going to the gym and running for a certain period of time every single day, like running a long distance. And my goal was to continuously increase that distance until I was good at long distance running. It seems simple enough, but the thing is that since I didn't have the motivation to go to the gym that much, I would end up going like only like 2 to 3 times a week, mostly 2, like the average was 2. And therefore, like I mentioned earlier, consistency is key, and when you don't have that consistency and you don't stick to a schedule, which I didn't do, then well, you don't see progress. So I ended up only totaling around like 40 or so hours overall in the year and a half that I did that challenge, that thing, where each run was like 30 minutes. My longest distance ran was like around 6 kilometers. Now today I can do way better than that because I've developed a consistent schedule, but back then I would never even have dreamed about being able to stick to a schedule that I am sticking to right now because I just simply didn't have the internal energy and strengths. So that's just one of the negative effects that it can have on you. Another one is the grades. So as I mentioned last episode, my grades were not really good at all in the first few years of my I'm not the first few years, but the first few months, like the first semester of the DP first year. And that was because I didn't have motivation to study, because I didn't surround myself with the right people, didn't have the right mindset, etc., etc. And looking back, I should have done the right thing, which is to create devise a correct sleep schedule so I don't sleep at 2 a.m. every single day, create special revision session times, and stick to a daily schedule or a weekly plan or something like that. Reflect upon your performance every single day, stuff like that, you know. But I didn't do any of that back then, and that's obviously why my study strategies were not as effective, and my grades began to drop. That only took 2 bone meal. Okay. So that's another effect. It can have not having a proper mental health system can have negative effects on your grades and your extracurricular things, right? Even in the band club that I joined, I told you about that last episode. I joined the band club in the first semester of my DP life. And although nowadays I love piano, I love performing and rehearsing in bands, back then it was a chore for me, and I didn't enjoy it half as much as I did now because my mind was not focused. Instead of enjoying the present moment, I was always latched onto how special I was considered to my best friend and all of that. I was basically like attached too much that my mental capacity wasn't big enough to handle and store information for, the joy of being in a band, or that the happiness that arises from being able to play a piano song really well. I just didn't, or the ability or mental capacity to motivate myself to run even longer distances. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So my first semester of DP kind of sucked for that reason. Like, I surrounded myself with the wrong people. It's not I was surrounded by, I surrounded myself. I made that choice. That not bad, but like that unideal choice. So the moment I realized this, I didn't realize this back then, of course, otherwise I would have fixed it right away. But I didn't realize this until the second semester, and that was when I went to New York. So, for some context, in every single year around February, people that participate in the orchestra and pass a certain audition are eligible to go to a global music festival hosted by other international schools and we are allowed to participate, as we can bring 20 or so people of our own class of our own orchestra to attend. And luckily I was one of them, nominated to play mostly violin, but one piano piece as well. Very exciting. But even when on the first day to get to New York to actually do this, did I mention that I went to New York for that global festival? So I was set to spend a week in New York, which is February 2023. Even on the first day of that experience, my brain was still stuck to the old, still attached to my best friend and trying to gaslight myself, I guess, into thinking that they cared about me or something, even though I was going to be around even though the reality is that they actually I'm going to New York, right? That's a completely different continent, so yeah. So even if there was no point, I would still have my mind fixated on that. And this led to several consequences that happened within New York in the terms of verbal effects and stuff. What I mean is that now this isn't in regard to my best friend, but one of my people that I considered in my inner circle back then, before I decided to remove myself from their circle, is that when I was in New York, something happened, and basically that person I considered my friend was acted very unideally to me and verbally insulted me and put blames on me that I was not accountable for. I knew I didn't deserve them at all because I had done nothing wrong. I was in a completely different content, right? What could I have done? So when one of my best friends, who now this is a true best friend, by the way, because they're still within my circle, they're still someone that stuck by me and I've stuck by them. This person has helped me open my eyes, my perspective, and helped me notice that this person was kind of abusing our friendship and platonic relationship in order to, convince themselves that they were in the right of an argument that they had devised, and consequently putting the blame on me for a certain action. Now, I can't share what that action is specifically because that would be basically revealing the things, but all you essentially need to know is that it impacted me greatly emotionally. I was really sad because I was just trying to enjoy a new city. You know how fun touring New York City is, right? And that this person was trying to kind of take that away from me, essentially, even if that was not their primary purpose. That's basically what they were doing. And that was just unreasonable in my opinion, because I had done nothing wrong. Does this fit? Yes. my best friend, like the true best friend, told me to, when I told him about this, he explained that he finally made me understand that some people are not right for me, and people that treat me this way do not deserve to be my friends. And when I heard that, of course, I was at first insulted because my natural instinct that I've developed over the years was to, defend this person. But after realizing that that may not be the best thing to do, and I finally opened my eyes, I decided to, respond calmly and then basically told him that I do not want to interact with this person anymore, message them anymore in any way, and basically not be a friend of them, basically just a classmate. And looking back now, even though it's been about a year since that incident occurred, I would not have been able to fix my mental health if it wasn't for my friend. And me being able to actually take the action and, tell myself that this person was not it for me. This fits, yes. Now, I can't even imagine what it'd be like if I had continued to persuade myself that this person was going through something hard and I should be there for them. I cannot imagine. I shouldn't have to, because that's just plain wrong. So, and I would not have graduated half as happily with the best grades, with the grades that I have right now. I would have been very disappointed in myself, and I would have possibly even disliked myself a bit more. And that's the benefit mentally of expanding your senses and your perspective. This house is getting nicer and nicer. Yes, I guess. Oh my god, what is that music? These new tracks are kind of astounding. Maybe I should lower the volume for this. Okay. I don't rewatch my videos, so I don't know how loud the audio is, but in case it was too loud, there you go. So, in New York, after my best friend told me that hanging out with this person was not a good idea, and then I basically cut them out of my personal life, I immediately began to notice changes. I noticed that I finally noticed with my full consciousness, my full undivided attention on my mental health, my mental capacity, that I was in a completely unfamiliar new country, and I should be cherishing this moment. I was going to be performing at one of the largest halls, the Jazz Lincoln Center in New York, and I should be cherishing that memory for life instead of being held on, sticking to some past memory that I was sticking to only in spite of what I hoped our friendship would be under a delusional idea. And when I realized that this was actually happening to me, when I realized I was undergoing this transformation, I decided to manifest it completely. I don't know if that's the right word, but I was using it to the best of my ability. Besides that, also I think I can get some diamonds now. Yeah. Yes, I decided to use this opportunity to make some new friends. People that I didn't really connect to in my orchestra that ended up being on the same year trip as me. These were the best people to start with because they were right in my vicinity. So I decided to immediately start, and I decided to immediately connect with the people that are near me. All of the people that I was traveling with in New York at the time, around the 20 other people, I made around 10 new friends. Even friends that were not in my grade, but in lower grades. I met new friends, and who knows, if I didn't get to do this opportunity, if I didn't have the chance to fix myself right there and then and surround myself with better people, then I would have come out of the trip making no new friends, socializing with basically nobody, having a mediocre concert experience because my mind was too fixated on something else. Overall, it would not have been ideal, right? Yeah, that just goes to show how important it is. I think I'll make a mine inside my house, by the way. Yeah, so I can easily just come up right back to my house. Oh, come on, it's raining. I'll start decorating the exterior of my house like after I finish the roof of it, okay? Please don't kill me. And my mine will probably start here. Yes, this seems good for a ladder down. Yeah. So continuing on, the thing is, for new friendships, you don't know how they're gonna go, but if they do work in your favor, then they can last for a really long time. So for example, just today, I was out meeting a friend, and that's why this video is kind of uploaded a bit late. But the point is, I was meeting a friend of mine, and that friend coincidentally is one of the people that I got close to from the New York trip. Now imagine what would have happened if I never took the time to get to know them. Then I would be, stuck in the same usual circle that I've been creating under my own delusion. And my grades would have kept being bad and stuff. Everything would have been bad. But thanks to me regaining consciousness over the New York trip, I was able to find my most valuable people. One of those people that I met during the New York trip is someone that I really consider my best friend right now, and this is like a legit best friend. And you can have more than one best friend. This is probably controversial, but in my opinion, you can have more than one best friend because many people can be incredibly special to your life in many different ways. I will create a mine here. Yeah. Okay. I need to make another pickaxe. So after basically the rest of the New York trip, after I cut that person out of my life, and I began to truly enjoy the scenery, the wonderful aspect of New York, the aspect of performing in that grand theater, and also of course making a lot of new friends that I never thought I would have spoken to. The funny thing is I didn't even know that some of these people were in my orchestra until now, because until this point I really disliked orchestra. People that have known me for a long time might be very surprised here, but I actually didn't like orchestra. I disliked it. And this was because I was too focused on relieving and hanging out with my other friend, or hanging out with my perceived best friend at the time. My mind was not focused on music at all. But after completing the New York trip and coming back home, talking to some of the new friends that I met, my mind was at an all-time high. And I realized that. And of course I decided to manifest it as best as possible, like I mentioned earlier. I kept talking to those new people. I kept forming those new connections. I opened up a bit about myself and decided which of these people were really special to me. And that sounds like picking people or something, but the reality is some people are going to be more special in your life than other people are. Some people are going to be closer to you than some people are, and that's completely fine. You can't be close to everyone, right? And I knew that. I learned that both the easy way and the hard way, right? So basically, when my studies continued, because school's not even close to being over at this stage in life, I just came back from a trip, and it wasn't even like a holiday. It wasn't like spring break or anything, so people were still continuing their classes when I was gone for that entire week. So I had a lot of schoolwork to catch up on. We had a unit test in the form of a class presentation that was due in a week after I came back to school. So that was really great. That's the first thing I did. I met my classmates to get work done on the group project 12 hours after I landed, with immense jet lag. Really exciting experience. But it didn't matter, because that's just proof that I was more motivated immediately. I just felt like my personal self was so happy that I can motivate myself to get work done in that situation. More importantly, I started to create a portfolio of my experiences and use that to motivate myself. I magically learned how to sustain myself mentally. I learned how to go to the gym more often by creating a habit of myself to upload videos and document on daily, not daily, but every single time I went to the gym, I would document reflections on how well I did and that stuff. Even though these were a requirement by my school, I still took the time to do them extra well, because I knew I could see my progress better that way. And after that, I ended up being able to run up to 9 kilometers Yeah, 9 whole kilometers. Remember how it was 6 last time? I learned how to run 9 kilometers. Ow. Yeah, 9 kilometers. And that was a monumental spot for me. I was really happy back then. Really, really happy. In terms of my academics, I began to excel more. Like, once I started trying harder for the grades because I had the motivation to actually study. Because surrounding yourself with the right people and showing them what kind of person you are, it was kind of another source of external motivation for me to study harder. Because people back then, they didn't see me as someone who like try hard at academics. But if you look at the thing is, my reputation now has somehow been someone that has excelled at academics and gotten the highest score in my cohort. And that would not have happened without that initial motivation I got from changing myself as a person completely. There's a bat. Oh my god. Any diamonds here? Sorry, I had to focus a bit there. Oh my god, dude. Let me yap, bro. Like, come on. I don't see any diamonds. I see a bunch of mobs. Okay. I guess I'll look around this cave. So when I'm out of torches. So okay, continuing on. So my academic life began being very good. I think I mentioned around this time in the last episode that I began to get really high achievements on my tests. I got my I got one of my first 7s in math class, which is always very difficult because math was like one of my worst subjects, believe it or not, because of how hard it was in the DP. I was finding group work in chemistry class and physics class way more exciting. I was paying attention actively and taking lots of notes. I was like learning how to learn materials in advance and take notes more effectively. All of that stuff that I mentioned in the last episode, this was when it was all coming to me. The funny thing is, I was learning these methods of like active recall and proper studying methods without even looking them up on the internet. These are usually things you learn like not in school, but oh, nice diamonds. But I ended up learning them somehow by my own free will, and that's kind of magical in my opinion. And it helped me succeed more in school academically. And that just goes to show how well your mental health improves your willingness to study effectively. Is that a mine shaft? I really want to check that out. Could be diamonds in there. Make sure I don't lose my way though. Yeah, we'll clear out. I can stake my way back up. Wow, this sucks. Okay. What is this like joke of a mine shaft? What are you doing? Oh, that's diamonds down there. These idiot spiders are just like dying. Okay, let me just focus. There's like a billion creepers. Oh my. Dude, what is this? Come on. What are you guarding? There's like 4 creepers. Okay, I think I can finally continue. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Oh, I see diamonds though. Oh, I cannot die from that. Oh my. Holy. Okay, I do not regret coming to this cave at all. Okay. So while I collect this loot, let me talk a bit more. I was also, remember how I said I made a lot of new friends, right? That's definitely gonna be the YouTube thumbnail that I'm gonna use. This image of diamonds. I made a lot of new friends, and these people really helped me stay even more motivated, right? I wanted them to see me. Now, this may seem a bit controversial to some of you, but I wanted these people to see me as someone who succeeded in school, and not like the person that I was at the time, like not trying in school, being lazy, and not motivated. I wanted to change myself. So, one of the motivations for changing myself in that way that I mentioned earlier, like starting to study harder, using my own method, and all that, was because I knew people that I connected with were going to start like watching me and see that. I wanted to like differentiate myself, right? I wanted to show that I am capable of that. And I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing or like wanting to show off or whatever. I think changing myself based on how people see me is good to some extent. What I mean is that you shouldn't completely change yourself to fit someone else's ideal expectations of you, which is basically what I was doing when I was going through my, fake best friend phase. But come, are you kidding me, man? What? How did that not? Okay. 3 of you, really? Okay, so. Oh my god, bro. But yeah, these people that I surrounded myself with were another reason that I found myself being able to transform myself more clearly. Because when you're being watched do something, like for example, let's have a very simple example. Imagine you're being watched running. You're more likely to complete the run in a faster time if people are there rooting for you. That's why people encourage you. That's why that whole thing of cheering other people on exists, right? It's basically the same concept, but for me it was changing myself to be a better person. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense. Now, weren't there some other diamonds here? Yeah, there we go. Draw some of this junk. But yeah, that's enough of that part. Now, in addition, in addition of like just getting that initial motivation, I do realize that I need to get more food. Wow, the more important step is to, be able to consistently deliver, and execute these processes of, being a good student. So for example, I can't just like start doing my homework for 1 week to show myself off to be a good person and just stop right after that, right? I gotta, oh come on, I gotta keep it up for as long as I can. And that is overall how you become that really good student, right? I'll take this. I should start heading back up. I'm gonna write down the coordinates of this. Okay. Time to start going back up. Actually, I'm gonna make a new. Now, the way I achieved that was simply by taking that initial motivation and driving it into like more productive tasks. Like for example, creating a study schedule was something that I did. I began using Google Calendar much more effectively to orient my tasks and prioritize things. Like I used that initial burst of energy to create more productive outputs of energy. If that makes sense at all. So yeah, no, it's really thanks to that I was able to achieve this. Now, some evidence that I actually achieved this is, for example, in the April assessments that we are all required to show up for near the end of 11th grade is something that I studied really hard for, and I got the highest grade in almost everything except for one Chinese assessment because Chinese is really hard. But I got a 7 for everything, including math, and that was when I knew that my time for transformation academically has come. So yeah, I was really excited about that. And of course it didn't stop there. Like I actually found myself enjoying playing in the band, going to external rehearsal rooms to practice with my friends, because to me, social life was more important than ever. In fact, I became more extroverted than introverted at this point because of how much I was enjoying meeting new people and, you know, having fun in band and school with them as well. People would say hi to me in the hallways a lot, especially people that I knew, friends that I made from New York. And I really liked that because it's been a really long time since I remembered what having true friends in school that I could rely on all the time was. And I'm not saying I mostly blame myself for this. I should have realized that I was hanging out with the wrong people earlier, but due to my own selfish conscience, I did not realize that. So carrying on, people started saying hi to me. When they saw me studying in the hallways, they motivated me, which further motivated me too to continue studying as hard as I was. Yeah, so overall, where did it come from? It came from there, right? Oh, right here. So overall, I became much more motivated in that sense. Come to the end of the year, we had our band's performance, which we did really well in. I documented it on YouTube. It is unlisted though, because that would just reveal where I am, just completely dox myself, but yeah. And then once that started, that's basically how my transformation worked. Like basically, I transformed myself from an underachieving student that was not motivated to go to the gym or study or make a lot of friends, and consistently trapped myself inside this mental prison for the first semester, and break free of that from being in another country for 7 days, and my best friend helping me realize what kind of a person I was being and trapping myself under. And after coming to that realization, I realized that I decided that it was time to change, and that's all it took. Finding that initial burst of energy may be difficult, but once it's achieved, it's not that big of a deal. It's definitely possible. I can make diamond armor. Let's go. I'm gonna make a sword first. That seems more important. Then I'll make leggings. Save the rest for an enchanting table. Nice. First piece of diamond armor. Food, okay. And now, not much changes in 12th grade. What I had to do was like get used to this new lifestyle, right? I was not used to being someone that was, greeted to in the hallway, or I was not used to being someone that was excelling academically. So the thing I mentioned earlier about continuity and consistency, that was the hard part of what I was doing. I had to convince myself and motivate myself to constantly be achieving my goals, right? My academic goals, my social goals, and my physical goals of going to the gym and getting healthier and that stuff. And that's the hardest part. But overall, being where I am now, I think I was able to sustain that as best as I could. Of course, I did make a lot of mistakes. I'm not a perfect human being, right? There were times when I felt distant with my friends, but it's the actions that I chose to take, learning from my past mistakes, that really helped me succeed and not lose what I have now. So for instance, there was an issue where with my not really an issue, but I kind of had like a conflict with one of my most precious friends. And around September, which is like the first semester of 12th grade, I decided to talk to him about it because, even between any sorts of friends, communication is really important if you want to sustain the friendship. So that's exactly what I did. I just I reached out to them. I was like, hey, can we talk about this? And I did this because I knew that if I didn't talk about it, if I didn't confirm that I was going to be on speaking terms and being able to talk about my personal issues with this person, then I would be on the same level of delusion, I guess, of just affirming myself basically that this person was my friend. And of course they are my friend, but I wouldn't be able to not confirm, but like I need to be like more personal with them. That sounds weird, but like my point is that I wanted to be more comfortable with them, and I wanted to be someone that they could trust, and they wanted to be someone that I could trust. And if it wasn't for that conversation, neither of those things would have been achieved the way that they are now. So yeah, communication is very important even among friends, not just relationships. Now, just to conclude my story, that's basically the extent of what happened like the most of the thing, my transformation and my ability to become a better student and person overall happened in that second semester of 11th grade after I came back from New York. But after that, of course, I still continued, like, after continuing my and persisting in my journey to be a really good person, it didn't stop. Like, all the way throughout 12th grade until the final end of my exams and until I got the highest score in my grade, I was through and through was being the best possible version of myself as I could. And look where that ends up with me being. I ended up at the top of my class, right? People were really happy for me. I was happy with myself as well. My parents were proud of me, and it's just further proof that when you put mind into it and the properly use your time and motivation into the right things and discipline your mind so that it does not get distracted, then you can achieve anything, even if it's like just high school. I hope to continue this in college. You know, when I go there, I'm gonna try my best to be a good person and stay true to myself as I've always been for the last year and a half. Because having a few friends in your inner circle is something that's going to be super, super valuable in the future, no matter how later in time it gets, because sustaining those friendships is just that valuable. Now, I've yapped for long enough but I hope you get a feeling of understanding of, you know, where I am now and what I've had to go through. It feels nice to be able to talk about this with the general public, because telling it just one person is sometimes stressful, right? So I'm happy that I didn't have to like expose anyone or anything like that, because that would be just like completely horrible by me, because that's my issues, right? But I'm glad I could talk to a general audience about it. Even if no one sees this, I'll be happy that I was able to make the move to talk about it while playing this game in the background. I know these two topics don't align at all, but yeah. Anyway, I was also able to that's my IBDP journey, mentally and socially, on top of academically, starting from last episode. So that's going to be the end of this series. In the next episode of this, in the next sub-series of this Let's Play series, I'm going to probably talk about what I'm doing in my current life right now, my final summer break as a 12th grade graduate and incoming freshman in the next 20 days. So basically, stay tuned to that. I'll be uploading a video on it tomorrow. In terms of Minecraft gameplay, I'm going to probably start a farm because I am running out of food. So I'm going to need to start a wheat farm and bring some animals in. If I have time, I will mine for some more diamonds, but in the end, today I was able to achieve my goals of expanding my house and getting 11 more diamonds to my name, so I'm very excited about that. Okay, well, that's it for this episode. Maybe I'll name my dog in the next episode. Anyway, that's that. I hope you guys have a lovely morning and afternoon or evening, depending on where you are. Like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow in the next episode. Goodbye.